Some things just need to be cut out of TV adaptations for reasons like pace and budget, but here are 10 things I wish the show kept. Of course, there are a lot more than 10 plotlines that were not included from the source material. There's going to be a lot of Season 5 and a Dance with the Dragon spoilers, so here's your warning. Arianne Martell's story was pretty much replaced by Ilaria Sand, except handled a lot worse. The show's rendition of Dorne and the Sand Snakes didn't play out right at all. Arianne Martell is the daughter of Dorne Martell, the Prince of Dorne and the older brother of Oberyn, everyone's favorite Dornishman. Arianne is as wild as her uncle, and planned to make Myrcella Baratheon the queen in place of Tommen Baratheon becoming king. Her plan doesn't go very far before being stopped by her father's men. In the middle of all this, Myrcella is attacked by Gerald Dane in an attempt to kill her and start a war between Dorne and the Lannisters. He fails, however, and Myrcella survives, but he did manage to cut her ear off. Arianne always believed her father to be weak, but because of her story, we find out he's just patient. In Dorne, the line of succession can be passed down to women, but Arianne overheard her father plan to pass it to her younger brother, Quentyn Martell. Since then, she was always angry with him. He imprisons her and the Sand Snakes so that they won't start a war with the Lannisters. And during this time, Doran Martell visits her and tells her his true plans. Doran wanted her younger brother to be heir only because he planned to marry Arianne with Viserys Targaryen, Daenerys' now dead brother, and make Arianne the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms. Now that Viserys is dead, she is the heir once again. This was perfect characterization for Doran that the show missed out the opportunity to do. Quentyn Martell is the brother that Arianne believed was going to take her place. Doran changed his plans after Viserys was killed, and instead planned on marrying Quentyn to Daenerys, making him king if they are successful in putting the Targaryens back on the throne. Daenerys had other plans though, and married his daughter Zolarok. Quentyn becomes desperate not to go home to Dorne empty-handed, and wants to tame one of her dragons. He believes having a Targaryen ancestor is enough for him to be able to do it. He approaches her dragon Viserion, but the other dragon Rhaegal burns him with his dragon fire. Both dragons escape because of him, and he dies 4 days later from the burns. Quentyn isn't the only one from Westeros who tries to marry Daenerys. Euron Greyjoy, the new lord of the Iron Islands and Theon's uncle, sends his brother Victarion Greyjoy to convince Dany to marry him, but Victarion plans on betraying his brother and marrying her for himself. Euron will be in Season 6, but the show won't include Victarion. What makes Victarion's story so important is one man who is traveling with him. Mokoro is a red priest who they found stranded at sea. He is far more accurate in his visions than Melisandre, who often makes mistakes. Mokoro is sent to be an advisor to Daenerys. Mokoro started sailing to Qarth, knowing it wouldn't make it and lead him to Meereen. The entire crew, aside from Victarion, fear him. There is a new supposed Red Priestess appearing in Season 6. Hopefully she can be a better interpreter of visions than Melisandre is to fill the role that Moqorro brought to the books, and give the Red God a better reputation. On board with Victarion and Moqorro is a dragon horn, a 6-foot-long horn said to allow the master of it to control dragons. It was given to Victarion from his brother Euron. Euron says he found it in the ruins of Valyria. The horn, called Dragonbinder, has Valyrian writing and Valyrian steel on it. When Euron had one of his men blow into it, it ended up charring his lungs and killing him. This isn't the only magical horn in the story. The Horn of Winter is said to be able to destroy the wall just by blowing into it. Mance Rayder said he found it north of the wall in a grave and threatened to use it. Tormund Giantsbane later reveals to Jon that the horn he had was a fake and the real one was never found. In the Season 5 premiere, Mance was starting to be burned alive by Stannis and Melisandre until Jon Snow gave him a mercy death with an arrow to the heart. In the books, it starts off very similarly, with Stannis and Melisandre burning Mance alive, but the man wasn't actually Mance. Melisandre used her magic to make Mance look like Rattleshirt, and Rattleshirt like Mance. Another more magical thing cut out of the show is wolf dreams. We all know Bran is a warg, capable of entering the mind of his direwolf and seeing through its eyes. But he isn't the only Stark with this power. Jon and Arya have had dreams, letting them see through the eyes of their direwolf. With enough time and training, their powers could develop into what Bran is capable of. A very mysterious character left out of the show is someone called Coldhands. He rescues Sam and Gilly when they are attacked by White Walkers north of the Wall. He wears the clothing of a brother of the Night's Watch and covers his face. His hands are cold and black, and he just happens to be dead. Unlike the White Walkers, his eyes are black and not blue. He rides an elk and travels with a group of ravens. He tells Sam to bring Bran Stark to him since he can't pass the wall himself because of the wall's magic. He eventually leads Bran to Bloodraven, so they must be working together, and that's all we know of him so far. Many people theorized him to be Benjen Stark, until George Martin said it wasn't him. Another mysterious character is Quaithe. We see Quaithe once in the show in Qarth, and she warns Jorah Mormont that people will be after Daenerys' dragons. She didn't really give any helpful information, more like an obvious observation. Of course people will be after her dragons. We didn't need a woman in a mask to foreshadow that. Quaithe has a far more mysterious presence in the books. She appears in a few different moments throughout the books, and speaks directly to Dany herself. The information she offers her are prophecies of her future. She tells her in Qarth, "To go north, you must journey south. To reach the west, you must go east. To go forward, you must go back. And to touch the light, you must pass beneath the shadow." Later in Meereen, she appears to Dany again in what seems to be a dream to her since no one else can see her. This time she tells her, "The glass candles are burning. Soon comes the pale mare, and after her the others, Kraken and Dark Flame, Lion and Griffin, the Sun's Son, and the Murmur's Dragon. Trust none of them. Remember the Undying. Beware the perfumed seneschal." Many people theorize that the glass candles are burning part of the prophecy suggests she's able to communicate with Daenerys through magic. Glass candles are made from obsidian, also called dragon glass. They haven't burned for hundreds of years until recently. They allow people to see anywhere in the world and give people visions. The next one is a huge spoiler that the show still has a chance to do, but I doubt they will. Book readers have probably been waiting for me to mention this. Number 2 is Lady Stoneheart, and I have a feeling the show didn't add her because they wouldn't know how to end her story. After Catelyn Stark was killed during the Red Wedding, her body was thrown in a river. Eventually her corpse was found by Beric Dondarrion and the Brotherhood Without Banners, after Arya's direwolf Nymeria, who crazy enough pulled it out of the river during one of Arya's wolf dreams. We've seen Beric revived by the Red Priest Thoros of Myr, but this time it was Beric Dondarrion himself to revive Catelyn Stark. This ritual ended up killing Beric. Catelyn Stark becomes the new leader of the Brotherhood Without Banners, and is set on getting revenge on the Lannisters, Freys, and Boltons for what they did to her family. My final one is again a huge spoiler that I think the show won't do because figuring out a resolution for it is something only George Martin can do. During the fight between the Mountain and Oberyn Martell, you hear Oberyn egg on Gregor Clegane to admit he killed his sister Elia and her 2 young children she had with the Prince Rhaegar Targaryen.
"Confess before you die. You raped my sister. You murdered her. You killed her children. Say it now and we can make this quick." "Wait, are you dying?" No, you can't die yet. You haven't confessed." "Say it. Say her name. Arya Martell. You raped her. You killed her children. Arya Martell."
Their children's names were Rhaenys and Aegon Targaryen. Moments before killing Oberyn, the Mountain admits to killing all of them. But apparently with the help of Varys, Illyria Mopatis, and a man named Griff, who was actually Jon Cunnington, a former lord in Westeros and a close friend to Rhaegar Targaryen, they've been hiding Aegon in Essos the entire time, preparing him to take the throne back. It's said that Varys switched Aegon with a random baby in King's Landing, and the Mountain really killed him instead. Aegon has been calling himself Young Griff and dyeing his hair blue to hide his Targaryen traits. With the help of the Golden Company, he is now in Westeros, well into his war to become king. Those are my top 10 things that I wanted to talk about and loved in the books that were missing from the show.